Hey there. I'd love to say there's a tsunami coming, but it's actually already here. Artificial intelligence and all the things that are derived from it are poised to and are already changing everything about our society and how we interact with each other as human beings. And in the not too distant future, things just won't look the same. So my name is Russ Camarda. I'm a filmmaker in New York and just an all-around regular guy like you who's thinking about these things and how they're going to change everything for all of us. And I think it's important that we take a few moments every day from now on to just remember what it is to be human, to look back at ourselves and what it is that makes us what we are as we start to integrate this non-human intelligence into our lives in a very intimate way. So I'm going to just throw out these conversations when I can. Please, if you like them, please subscribe to the channel. It helps keep this thing going. And with that, let's talk about what it is to be human. Again, addressing the hard problem of consciousness, there's a great thought experiment called Mary's Room, first proposed in the 80s by a guy named Frank Jackson, a scientist. And the idea is Mary is a brilliant neuroscientist, and she specializes in color vision, right? She knows everything there is to know about colors, about frequencies, about how colors are mapped onto the brain, about how you perceive colors, about how everything about how it works. Complete knowledge of the physics, the biology, the neurophysiology, color perception, all of that. She knows exactly how it all works. But she has lived her entire life from birth to this moment in adulthood in a completely black and white room with no mirrors or anything to see herself, and she's black and white. It's a completely black and white person in a completely black and white room. But she can tell you everything about color. She knows all. She has all the info that's been funneled in through her computer. She's analyzed it and studied it, and imagined theories on it, all that. And the scenario is somebody opens the door and lets her out of the room into the world we know, full of color. And she sees it for the first time. Does she learn anything? She knows everything there is to know about color and how it is perceived and ingested by a human being, but she's never seen it until now. Does she learn anything? Is there something about seeing it that is different than knowing what it is? That's, again, the hard problem of consciousness. That is what is it to be something? What is that thing that makes us what we are, you know? The idea and the argument is physicalism is just part of it. It's just and it's a false part of it. It's not all of it. There's something subjective. There's something subjective. There's a qualia to actually experiencing it. That's the central philosophy, the central problem in the philosophy of what it is to be human. And if there was some way to answer it, I don't know that there's any way you could qualify it in someone else. So again, there is a feeling of what it's like to be me and perceived through me, and there's something that's like to be you, but neither one of us can tell the other that we're really there. You know, we have this sort of silent agreement. And I think that it does go beyond that. Again, we can't prove it, but there is a sense when you're looking at something that is completely artificial, something in the eyes, something in, some artificially created video, and they're getting incredibly detailed and realistic. But is there something that tells you that you feel is off when it's not human, when it's not conscious? And is there something you feel is on when it is? The Turing test, which was a limited test, the idea that when a computer could convincingly could absolutely convince you that it was a human being through its answers to your questions and interactions with you. We've already passed that. These large language models can absolutely pass the Turing test, and that, by the way, that went by with no fanfare. That was supposed to be the big test. They passed it long ago. But there is something else that we feel. And I think we still retain that when we're in the presence of another consciousness. I wonder, do you feel it when you're dealing with large language models? Do you feel the same way when you're talking to your friend who's sitting in the room with you? Is there a difference? Sometimes it's pretty close. But again, if you search yourself for active listening, for those silences, for those micro adjustments, those things we unconsciously perceive, I think that's where you find the humanity. And I think we need to not only hang on to that, but cultivate it. Make sure we put it in a little pot by the sun so it grows while all this other stuff is withering everything away. We keep this little bit of our humanity because I think we're going to need it. I mean, hey, future comes along, all you need is one solar flare or EMP blast of some kind that wipes out all the electronic equipment, sends us back to the Bronze Age in a day, and you can't turn any of this stuff on. I think we're going to need to rediscover our humanity then, for sure. So we might as well start trying to cultivate it now.